Hey everyone! Hope you're all doing great! Let's jump into part 5 of working with the classic survival horror framework. First of all, I just want you to know, I go through every single piece of feedback. The features that are requested the most will definitely be considered and added in future updates. Before we get into today's main topics, I want to quickly cover a couple of things. One of the requests you had was about not having to manually set whether the framework works with keyboard or gamepad. Well, in update 1.6, this is already taken care of. The framework now automatically detects if you're using a keyboard or a gamepad and adjusts everything accordingly. Another feature you asked for was being able to easily change the UI buttons and controls. That's also included in the 1.6 update, and that's actually the first thing we'll look at in this video. Alright, that's enough talking. Let's jump into the tutorial. Changing gameplay buttons is super simple. You just go into the blueprint, open the input folder, and check out the input mapping context called IMC default. There, you can remap any keys or buttons the way you like. Pretty straightforward. But how about changing the UI buttons to match your custom setup? Right now, both the gameplay and the UI are about 95% faithful copies of Resident Evil 2 and 3 Classic. But if you want to tweak them, you don't need to go widget by widget and hardcode things anymore. Instead, you just go into the database folder, data table folder, and open up the data table called DT Framework UI keys. In there, you'll see two input setups, one for keyboard and one for gamepad. You can simply assign whatever key or button you want. For example, if you want the confirm button to be T instead of E, just change it there. Then, when you're in-game, you'll see the UI uses T for confirming items. Same goes for gamepad controls. That was the first thing I wanted to show you. Now, let's move on to the next topic, the map system. This is already explained in the documentation, but I know some of you prefer video walkthroughs. When you open the inventory and go to the map, you'll see the rooms that are part of your map setup. Let's say you build a new room, you'll also want it to appear on the map UI. I'll quickly walk you through the process. First, you make your new room on the level. Then, you go into the UI, Map folder, duplicate one of the existing map room images, and adjust it to match the new room's size and style. You can label it however you want, like Room 12. After that, go back to your level and assign the correct room code on the camera switcher for that room. In the widget graph, you duplicate the last room entrance event. Rename it, for example, Room 12, Entrance, and create a new highlight animation for it. Replace the image reference to match the new room's red highlight image. Once that's hooked up, whenever the player enters that room, the map UI will highlight it in red. And of course, if they go back to a previous room, the correct highlight will play again. Now, you can also expand this system further. The option we have here, called Change Map, is currently set up to use the LB and RB buttons. This part is designed so you can easily extend the functionality if you want. For example, the widget you see here is specifically for the hall map, which only displays the map of this particular area in your game. But let's say you want something like what you see in the modern Resident Evil games where, on top of the current map, you also have a completely different map for another location, showing its own set of rooms and layout. To achieve that, you can simply create another widget built the same way as this one, and then use the Change Map option to switch between them with LB and RB. This is the most straightforward and simple way to handle it. Of course, there are other approaches too, and you can choose whichever method fits your style or project best. That covers the map system. Next up, I want to talk about metahumans. But before that, let's take a quick look at what changed in the character classes in Update 1.6. If you go into World Settings, Default Pawn Class, you'll notice there are now 3 options in the character folder. 1. BP Player Character, the main base for the character class. 2. BP Player Character UE5, for those who want to use the UE5 skeleton instead of UE4. And finally, BP Player Character Metahuman, for anyone using metahumans. So for UE5 skeleton, it's super simple. Just select the UE5 class as the default pawn, hit play, and the game runs with the UE5 skeleton. For metahumans, same thing. You select the metahuman class, and everything works with the framework's systems right away. Of course, the base metahuman setup doesn't come with clothes, shoes, or even the head by default. You'll need to add those in yourself. But the important thing is, the framework already supports metahumans out of the box. Alright, let's jump into the quick setup. First thing we need to do is bring our metahuman into the project. I'm using Brian here. You'll need to download your character first if it isn't already. For now, I'll just import the low-quality version. Once it's in, you'll be asked to enable a few plugins. Make sure you enable them and restart the project. Otherwise, things won't work properly. After restarting, you'll see your character in the project. The next step is to replace your metahuman skeleton with the metahuman skeleton that comes with the classic survival horror framework. Don't worry, they're the same skeleton setup, so if you already created animations for your metahuman, nothing will break. Just copy the skeleton reference from the framework's metahuman and paste it into your own character. Save it, and you're good to go. Next, we open the metahuman's blueprint and transfer the body components from our character into the framework character. Follow the video exactly, make sure everything is aligned at 0 position and rotation, then compile. If you press play now, you'll notice the clothes might not line up correctly. To fix that, set the leader pose component so everything syncs up. For things like hair, beard, or eyebrows, just copy them from your Metahuman's face section and paste them into the framework character. Don't forget to also copy over the LOD sync component so the hair shows correctly. After that, everything should look fine. And finally, you might need to adjust the flashlight position manually so it looks right. Once that's done, your Metahuman is fully set up in the framework, ready to use. So, to switch your Metahuman character to female, it's a bit different than in UE4 or UE5. For UE4 and UE5, you just set a variable in the player class and you're good. But for Metahumans, you also need to update extra parts like legs, torso, hair, and so on. Here's how. First, import your female Metahuman and replace its skeleton with the one from the classic survival horror framework, just like we did for the male character. Then, in your Metahuman blueprint, go to the function called UE5 Female Switch Update. Next, update the extra attachments, torso, legs, hair, etc. Don't forget to also add the materials for these parts, like hair or beard textures. Once you do all that, your character can properly switch to female. One thing to note, some metahumans might have slight differences in hair setup, so you may need to tweak things a bit. Other than that, you're good to go. Thanks so much for watching and for following along. Make sure to check out the roadmap. I'll leave a link in the description so you know what new features and updates are coming to the classic survival horror framework. And if you'd like to support me even more, you can join my Patreon. I share some really cool add-ons there completely free for my patrons. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.